Hey guys, welcome back to 𝗲𝗈𝗆𝗆, the cooking channel that's not so useless. In this video, we'll be frying up some pan-fried salmon bones, as well as cooking up a clay pot salmon head. We all love salmon, whether it's salmon sashimi, sushi, or maybe you've been following our teriyaki salmon recipe. But the leftover bones and head often get binned, which hurts the Asian in me a little. I mean, just look at how much meat still remains on the bones, as well as the head. It's just a waste to throw this out. And to ensure we utilize everything, we're going to make two very simple dishes. These really crunchy pan-fried salmon bones, which are surprisingly good with beer, as well as an aromatic clay pot salmon head that's cooked using a more traditional method. So first off, the pan-fried salmon bones. You'll need to do two key things in order to make this. Marinate the bones, and then pan-fry them. And to make this dish, you'll need salmon bones, cornstarch, white pepper, and salt. For the quantities, you'll need 500 grams of salmon bones, a third teaspoon of salt, a sprinkle of white pepper, and half a tablespoon of cornstarch. But before we begin, if you do enjoy this video, do consider subscribing, as it does help the channel out. So first up, we're going to remove the salmon head, and keep it aside for later. Then with the bones, give them a good wash, making sure to use a knife to scrape any blood from the spine. And if you want to make this easier, you can always break the spine in half. Then dry the bones really well with some paper towels. Next, chop off the rib bones, as well as any uneven edges, before portioning. If your salmon is too big, cut it in half lengthwise. And if you want, you can cut off the fins. And with that, you'll have nice rectangular cuts of salmon bones, as well as the cuts you'll want to dispose of. And just to prove my point, look at how much meat these bones have. Next, we're going to marinate the bones. First, with some salt and white pepper. Then give it a good mix. And be careful whilst mixing, as the bones can prick you. Then add in the cornstarch and mix once more. Once you're done, let it marinate for half an hour. When pan frying, turn your heat on high and add in oil when the pan is hot. You only need a small layer of oil, as salmon is already an oily fish to begin with. When the oil is nice and hot, add in the salmon bones and fry until golden. As they're frying, be sure to shake the pan about every 30 seconds. This will prevent the bones from sticking to the pan. And because we were using a big pan, we repositioned the pan over the flame about every 10 seconds to prevent any burning. When the pieces are almost golden, continuously shake the pan to ensure an even fry. For us, it took about 4 minutes until they were golden. Then flip them over and repeat, but for 1 minute shorter than previously. So if it took you 4 minutes to pan fry the first side, you'll want to repeat but for 3 minutes on the other side. Afterwards, turn the heat down to a medium-low, and continue for roughly 2 minutes. Making sure to continue the repositioning and pan shaking. Frying at a lower heat will encourage the salmon to release more oil, which will make it even crunchier with the next step. After those 2 minutes, flip the salmon bones over once more. Turn the heat up high, and finish frying for 1 more minute. Then, when the final minute is up, lay the bones out on some paper towels. And just look at how crispy they are. And while they're piping hot, sprinkle on some salt. Plate them up, and your simple pan-fried salmon bones are done. Moving on to the clay pot salmon head, you again only need to do two key things: marinate the salmon head and cook it. For the ingredients, you'll need salmon head, light soy sauce, cooking wine, sesame oil, dark soy sauce, oyster sauce, water, sugar, salt, white pepper, ground bean sauce, red onion, shallot, spring onion, ginger, garlic, and cornstarch. And for the quantities, you'll need to marinate 1 salmon head, which for us was around half a kilo, with 1 teaspoon of sugar, a third teaspoon of salt, plus 1 tablespoon for cleaning, a half tablespoon of light soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of cooking wine, 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, 1 tablespoon of ground bean sauce, a few drops of dark soy sauce for color, a sprinkle of white pepper, 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, and half a teaspoon of sesame oil. And when cooking, you'll need 1 medium-sized shallot, half a red onion, 2 spring onions, 4 ginger slices, 3 to 4 cloves of garlic, and 1 tablespoon of water. So with the salmon head, you'll want to make sure you remove the gills, but luckily for us, our fishmonger already did that for us. Next, we want to get rid of any sliminess. So with about 1 tablespoon of salt, rub it into the head. Then give the head a good wash. Once washed, pat it dry with some paper towels. And move on to chopping it into pieces. And remove the fins while you're at it. Also, you don't want the spine portion of the head, as it's too hard and annoying to eat from. Moving on, marinate the head with the marinade ingredients, except for the cornstarch and sesame oil. Then give it a good mix. Once mixed, add in the cornstarch and mix once more. Then repeat with the sesame oil. After that's mixed in, let it marinate for half an hour. Now, as the name suggests, you'll need a clay pot to really bring out the aromatics of the vegetables in this dish. And speaking of vegetables, start off by cutting your ginger slices, or the garlic, top and tail, then crush and remove the skin. With the shallot, top and tail, and remove the first layer. Cut it in half before slicing. with half a red onion, again top and tail, and remove the first layer. Then slice away. Then portion the spring onions. And with that, your vegetables are done. At your stove, turn the heat on high, and when hot, add in a nice layer of oil. And in the meantime, be sure to slowly heat up your clay pot with low heat. When the oil gets nice and hot, turn the heat down low. And add in the garlic and ginger and cook until golden. Once golden, either move them aside or take them out. Turn the heat up high and add in the salmon head. And just like with our salmon bones, shake to prevent them from sticking to the pan. Then 2.5 minutes later, flip the heads over. And turn the heat down low. Now sadly, we got a bit distracted, and some of our pieces were a smidge burnt on the outside. But don't worry, the meat inside was still good. We're going to continue cooking at low heat for another 2.5 minutes. Now, crucial to this step, 1 minute into the 2.5 minutes, rinse out any remaining marinade with a little bit of water back onto the salmon heads. Once you've poured the water in, immediately shift your attention to the clay pot. So add in some oil. Then turn the heat up high. When the oil is hot, add in the shallots and cook until golden. Once golden, add in the red onions, then turn the heat down low to prevent any burning. Then add in the salmon heads, which should be about 80% cooked through. Then put the lid on. Turn the heat up high, and about 30 seconds later, pour the cooking wine down the sides of the lid to really bring some life to the dish. Give it about 30 seconds after adding the cooking wine, before throwing in the spring onion. Then put the lid back on, and let it cook for a quick 5 seconds, before serving. When you take the lid off, brace yourself for a wave of aromatics. And I can tell you from experience, it smelled great. And with that, your steaming hot clay pot salmon head is done. The salmon smells great, and the head meat is just so tender and fatty. So guys, that was my family's recipe for pan-fried salmon bones and clay pot salmon head. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you ever get the chance to make this at home, be sure to tell us how it goes. And if you want to see any of our future videos, be sure to subscribe. See ya.